So this isn't going to be purposefully a new year, new me bullshit thing, but it is, really. So I guess I want to talk a bit about like what I want in like 2020, life in general, really. But you know, with the new year coming around and shit, you know, it's an apt time to talk about that, I guess. One of the main things is I need to make sure my food isn't burning and shit. That would not be good. Not be good, no. One of the main things is just kind of getting myself in, like developing an environment conducive to my personality. I had that when I was probably in second year, and I guess kind of in first year, apart from the whole uni thing. Actually studying for a degree I didn't really value at the time, and was genuinely considering quitting. So, I mean, just finding like a place, probably Melbourne, hopefully. I'll say that, so it's not really a great goal because that is definitely happening. So I'm not like flitting about between different places, but yeah, developing, let's just say, an environment of which is conducive to my personality. And that's going to include hobbies, friends, girls, a job, and I guess travelling is also a hobby, sort of. Yeah, it is. So yeah, just having a city which is full of opportunity, and then essentially taking action and, you know, dominating my environment a bit more, because at the moment I'm not in a very conducive environment, because I guess I'm quite far from the city. The few friends I've got are just essentially at the gym and aren't local. I don't really see them outside of the gym, and my other mates are at uni and shit. So, you know, it's not exactly prim for opportunity. And also where I'm living, I'm kind of by default subject to obligations just by the act of living under somebody else's, not reign, but living in somebody else's household rent free. So yeah, that's I guess one of the things to, yeah, develop myself a bit more in an environment which is conducive to my personality and me. Yeah, that's one of the main things. And I wrote something down earlier which was something like, cultivating a strong and defined body is a symbol of, flourishing and, dominating, transcending to some extent the constraints of your environment. And by that I mean, if you're able to transcend the limitations of your environment, or the constraints, should I say, yeah, that's a better word, then you're able to just develop your body, because you're not subject to complete physical laziness and just eating shit. You're able to surpass that, transcend that, and still develop your body. And that shows it's a symbol of, they're not mutually exclusive, but it's a symbol of a positive environment, a reinforcing, an affirmative environment, or an affirming environment, and a symbol of discipline. That's what a good body is. A product of and a symbol of. My stuff's probably about to burn, which is fantastic. Let me just turn that shit down. So yeah, they're my goals, I guess. Other goals would be to keep up this travel shit. I'll be in Australia for pretty much all the year, February onward. Might do probably do some travelling, Tasmania, New Zealand. I guess my goals for Australia are just to flourish as much as I can, I guess. Obviously money will be a constraint, so what I would like to do is find a job which I don't hate and actually enjoy and can derive some meaning from, whether that's through the work itself and or through the relationships I cultivate at the job. That would be fantastic if it's both as well. Something which helps people, which allows for my creativity to flow, and also that enables me to cultivate personal relationships, physical personal relationships, not physical as in like fucking, but physical as in not virtual, not over the bloody computer and shit, or just behind a desk, you know. I like to read my ass off a lot more. I did a lot of reading this year, more than I've ever done. I finished 57. I might be able to finish 58, but I don't know, because the 2 books I'm reading I've still got a way to go. So I finished 57 books this year. Next year, I don't know, we'll see how I am in Australia, but I would like to get myself away from my phone a lot more, even though I'm not on it a load now. But I'd like to even more reduce that, furthermore reduce that, and just get to reading as my main habit. Fitness, well, we'll see how that goes. I just like to slim down, essentially, and I think that'll be easier once I'm in a more conducive environment, as I said. Let's see, that's about it, really, I'd say. Yeah, I'd like to develop my comfort with my sexuality. I think that's one thing that's been, you know, subtly bothering me the last 2 years. Something that's always been quite an insecurity, and I can't just dissolve that insecurity through reading, meditation and journaling. It's an act of doing and actually living, you know. I'd like to read, that's probably that all done now, you know, the me bit, whatever you want to call it. I'd like to read this out. It's from Bad Bad Boy, Ride the Tiger still. And this kind of made me go, oh shit boy, today. Here is one effect of that regression, and the regression is, he calls it a regression, it's just like going back to nature, like going back to a more primitive way of living, you know, escaping from the concrete jungle and going back to living in mountains and nature and shit. So here is one effect of that regression, through which, in the course of his liberation, Western man has come to feel ever less as a privileged being of creation, and ever more as one of so many natural species, even as an animal. The defining and spread of Darwinism and evolutionism were already barometric indicators of this inner attitude, but apart from the domain of theories and science, in the field of ordinary modern life, it is manifested in terms of behaviour, giving rise to what has been called the animal ideal, especially referring to North America, where it was first realised. The term applies to that ideal of biological well-being, comfort, optimistic euphoria, emphasising everything that is sheer health, youth, physical vigour, security and material success, primitive satisfaction of hunger and sexual desire, athletic life, and so forth, whose counterpart is the atrophy of every superior form of sensibility and interest. I have already treated this. The kind of man who is thus elevated to the summit of modern civilization is evidently one who has developed only the aspects through which he belongs to an animal species. It goes without saying that this idea finds its counterpart in the nihilism that underlies many of today's predominant socio-political currents. Here I want to emphasise the back to nature idea as an instance of the physical cult of the personality. Now, fucking hell, shit's gonna burn, yo. Now, you can probably, hopefully, maybe, see what I'm talking about with that shit. Yeah, that's definitely done. And what I believe he's talking about is how we kind of pedestalise and look up to people who have achieved what modernity, what the Western world attributes the word success to. That is you know, material shit, animal stuff, animalistic stuff that we, you know, need to live, but we shouldn't pedestalise and just see as, that's probably quite loud, and see as like superior to any spiritual endeavours. I mean, for example, the best bit in that, I think, is the kind of man who is thus elevated to the summit of modern civilization is evidently one who has developed only the aspects through which he belongs to an animal species, which is like fucking, food, social status, and social, what else? means of, well, that's going to fall. Is it going to fall? Don't fall. A means of thriving in that, thriving in the things which help us perpetuate our genes, which is, as I say, finding shelter, which is like fancy houses, perpetuating our DNA, which is fucking, which is how we pedestalize sex culture, and how we, look how sex sells. Look how much sex is prevalent in the media, in music videos, in music, in advertising, in clothing, fucking everywhere, right? And even just selling cars and just advertising whatever. So shelter, food, how we spend thousands a fucking month on fancy restaurants and stuff, which is just eating and drink as well. And then and it's just like, it's amazing. And he says, especially referring to North America, where it was first realised, where the animal ideal was first realised, because that's what we're striving for in the West, and more the East now as well. We're striving after this animal ideal, this ideal of like just animalistic living, just material, non-spiritual, spiritually meaningless, nihilistic to some extent, mode of living. So I just thought that was a thought which was pretty fucking cool, really. That's probably me done, I think. So next year, what do I want? Next year, I would like to become more comfortable and much less insecure in regard to sexuality. And I would say insecure, it's just like, those pangs of like loneliness and those I'd like to rid porn as much as possible. Same with wanking, but I think porn's more psychologically detrimental. And, in those, I don't want to be dependent at all on sex. I mean, I'm not really at the moment, but I don't want to be having to bust a nut and feeling like at the subjugated, or whatever the word is, by the need to bust a nut. I mean, sexual transmutation is something that's kind of interested me a little bit. Nietzsche talked about it, I think. Napoleon Hill definitely did. David Yader did. Quite a lot of people have done, which is, I think it's quite an ancient Eastern teaching, which is like transmuting urges and stuff into like a creative outlet, into creative energy. Something I'm quite interested in, or have been recently somewhat interested in. Not really done any research on it, but it's been stirring. That's something. Then also actually fucking and cultivating meaningful relationships with girls, that's something I'd like to actually do. I think that's quite a human fucking thing. I'd like to finish my book. That should be done before I go to Oz. I'd like to finish my book, draft it, actually be proud of it, and maybe start a second book. Definitely. I'd like to read a lot more philosophy, and that's it.